And welcome to the GAP, the Get Attitude Podcast, The Gap, bridging the gap from who you are to who you want to become, bridging the gap from where you are to where you want to go. And we are live on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. And I don't know, Jason, we're live everywhere right now. Is that correct? Or a lot of places?
Actually, it's just Facebook. We're on several Facebook pages right now, but we are live.
All right. Well, it's so good to be with everybody. I can't believe it, right? It's like we are on month number 8 of the Get Attitude Podcast. It's just, boy, it's been something. What a ride. We've had some unbelievable guests, and today is our kickoff show for Attitude Booster number 8. Attitude Booster number 8, it's something that everybody needs, and our guest this month will be absolutely fantastic. Actually, Jason, interestingly enough, Nissan's going to be Eat Right and Exercise, but that's okay. So when you see that, Nissan Trotter, the fitness preacher, will be Eat Right and Exercise, and we will be having a gentleman, big Keller Williams realty agent, Eric Forney, who's getting ready to come in. He's going to talk about adversity and the adversity him and his teams face as they try to grow in real estate. And I know we got a lot of real estate people that listen to our podcast, so hopefully that interview will be good. We got the great Gannon Switzer, who was president of KST Security. Actually, when we did the interview, he has now moved on to a different profession, but Gannon was a Division I track guy. And then we got the great Greg Reid, who will also be. Greg is amazing. He was he's done movies, he's done specials. He's from L.A. So we have some great people to talk to us about adversity. And Lord knows, are we not facing adversity today? It's great being live because hopefully we will get people that will jump on, that will engage with us as we do this, as we introduce the love adversity piece of the Get Attitude Podcast. I hope that this podcast is something that you will subscribe to, that you'll rate, review. Most importantly, if you're watching this right now, I'd love you to start a watch party, start inviting your friends. Let's see if we can't talk about what the adversity people are going through today, and if we can't just provide some answers to what the biggest adversity you are going through in your life, or maybe your family or your company. I mean, when we talk about adversity, is it like very easy to find people that are struggling, people that aren't happy, people that are concerned, people that are dealing with uncertainty? Attitude Booster number 8 is really about simply this. Look, if you are not going through adversity, then you're dead, right? We are all going through adversity. And one way to embrace adversity is to certainly say, what can I learn from this, right? Why is it that God is putting me through all of this? Like, what does adversity mean to you? I always look at adversity as a gift. I look at it as an opportunity to increase my sense of humor. I look at it as an opportunity for me to grow. Sure, there's plenty of adversity in my life. A lot of people are like, Glenn, I mean, you're the guy at the Get Attitude Podcast. You don't have adversity. Well, you're right. I don't believe I do have adversity because I see adversity as something that is to be treasured and loved. And no matter how awful things are, no matter how bad things are going for you, certainly there are people that, you know what, there's worse things that are going on for them. So if you guys are live with me and you're watching me live, I know we've had a lot of success with this, especially on our real estate side. Hopefully we're getting some eyeballs on this. And if there's anything you guys want to talk about, if there's any motivational quotes that you live by, if there's any quotes on adversity that you like, or just if you want to just put up here and say, you know what, I tell you, here's the adversity that I'm dealing with, my family's dealing with, my relationships are dealing with. What is it? I'd like to know, because here's the one thing that I do know. There's not one of us that has one unique adverse thing that is occurring in our lives. See, the thing about adversity is very simply this, that there are other people going through exactly what you're going through. And when we talk about Grow or Die, which was Attitude Booster number 7, and all the great guests that we've had that previous month, we know that seek and you will find, right? Seek and the answers are there. Seek the people out and they will be there. So, I don't know, Jason, do we got anybody on or anybody sharing, or is anybody out there?
Yeah, we got people watching. I'm scrambling to do
too many things.
I know, right? Jeez.
Well, that's okay. I'm going to keep talking about the 5 biggest adversities that people have in their life. And number 1,
and actually, maybe we should actually tell people to if they want to comment or something, to comment in the stream that they're watching this on. Have a little trouble with the gap page, but if they go to the University of Attitude Facebook page, I can pull those comments in, so you can watch the stream there, comment in there, and maybe let us know the adversity you've overcome in your life.
That is true, and I don't know. Hopefully, they can go to my my personal page, because I got a watch party going right now, and if you guys and Jason,
but I can't funnel those comments in.
Oh, okay. Well,
we're dealing with technology here.
You can always just read them to me if you see whatever you see.
Well, that's not as cool.
Okay. Well, I understand it's not cool, but we definitely want to gauge. We definitely want to hear from you. We try to do more live things than we ever can. I'm like this close to getting one of the biggest speakers, motivational speakers in the world, to come on the Get Attitude podcast. And my guess is that we will be substituting that guest in for Nissan. But I don't want to do it because I don't have it. But I can tell you, he's got, about 1 million followers. Hey, Mandy Holland, how are you? I see you. Thank you for watching. I'd love to hear about what you consider to be the biggest adversity. But I'm going to go ahead and tackle the top 5 that I see. And I think the biggest adversity people face basically is relationships, right? We talk about we all have 2 things in common, problems and relationships. And we all know that it's the relationships that cause most of our problems. And so what I want you to think about is the relationship that is causing you the most heartache, the relationship that is causing you the most stress, the relationship that you feel is holding you back, that is truly adverse to your happiness, to you bridging the gap from who you are to who you want to become. Maybe it's a relationship that's holding you back. Maybe it's a relationship where somebody just doesn't believe in you enough. Maybe it's a toxic relationship that you're going to have to minimize their influence, right? We talk about the 3 types of influences in people's lives and the 3 solutions to those, right? We know that we need to ask ourselves, who are we hanging around, right? And are the people we hanging around causing us to have adversity in our life? And what are they doing to us? What do they have us reading? What do they have us saying? What do they have us listening to? What podcast do they got us listening to? And is it a podcast and or is it information that they continue to put into our heads that only creates negative, toxic situations? That creates what? Real adversity. And then you have to ask yourself the big 3 questions, all right? Do I need to disassociate from that influence? Do I need to limit the association there, right? Or do I need to increase the association? And when we talk about bridging the gap when it comes to adversity, there are people that have the answers. And adversity sometimes introduces us to the most influential people in our life. Whatever adversity you're going through, somebody has the answer, and chances are that somebody is a pretty special person. And if you seek them out and talk to them about your adversity, and they grow with you, and they share with you, and they help you through that, what you will find is that adversity sometimes brings us the greatest gifts in life. They bring us the greatest relationships in life. So for those of you who are out there with relationships that are causing you stress, that are causing you to be down, that are causing you to be depressed, my goal for you is to seek out people that have had the same problems, research them, see what they did, and find out what you can do. The second biggest thing we know that causes most adversity in people's lives our health challenges. And we know that America is one of the least healthy countries there are. We have an epidemic not only of COVID-19, but overweight and diabetes especially. It's become at a rate that is, at a level that has never been matched. And so it's like, why is that, right? So many people choose to deal with their adversity through the medicine or the anesthetic of food. Certainly they do it through drugs and alcohol, which is not good for your body. And if you're one of those people that is wallowing in adversity because of your physical health, attitude booster number 9, eat right and exercise. We have unbelievable physical fitness instructors, experts, doctors that are coming on the show talking to you about a way to create the momentum in your life that will start a very, very small exercise plan that would start a very, very small adjustment in the way you think. Nissan Trotter, as I'm looking at him, is one of them. Sharon Crowder is the next one. But we got to get through adversity first. But I promise you, when we get to Attitude Booster number 9, which will be next month, you're going to have 4 experts talking to you about eating right and exercising. And I promise you, half of the adversity you guys face, or that I face, when it comes to physical health, it really comes from what do we put in our bodies. It comes from what we eat, and it comes from not moving enough. One of the great things we heard was, not moving, right? Sitting still is the exact same as smoking. It's just as bad for you. So I thought that was very, very interesting when Sharon mentioned that. I want to talk about the third biggest adversity in people's life. And the third biggest adversity in people's lives is this thing called uncertainty, right? Uncertainty we know, and variety we know, is a emotional human need. People seek out and they need adversity and variety. But what I definitely know is that the adversity and variety that we are getting right now is at an all-time high. We are on adversity and variety overload. And there are some people, and we know 70% of the public thrives and lives in this thing that we call certainty. And that's an emotional need as well. And what happens is that all of this uncertainty, like the Indianapolis 500 was just no fans in the stands, and man, Facebook's blowing up and people are depressed and they're getting down. But it's like, okay, I get it. How can we make all this uncertainty that we're being dealt? Will we work? Will I get a paycheck? Will I get another 600? Will the Pacers and Colts play? Will there be a football season? Will there be school? Let me tell you something. If you're a parent at home and you got kids that you're having to e-learn with, which I have clients like this, I don't know how you're doing it. And I understand you're sitting there going, yeah, Glenn, love adversity. I got to sit at home with all this uncertainty. I got work. I got responsibilities. I'm fortunate enough to have a job. I don't know how to cover my kids because I got to work. That's adversity, right? But the point is, and I'm going to give you some exercises and thoughts on how you take that challenge, how you take that adversity and turn that into a positive. For me, it's easy to say I don't have kids at home, but what an opportunity. I mean, look at this isn't going to last forever. And I know that last spring was tough enough. And if you got to do it again this fall, that's going to be tough enough. But you know what? You're never, ever going to forget this time in your life. And what do you want to say to your children and grandchildren about what happened during COVID-19? What happened during this thing that we call a pandemic? And how can you actually turn teaching your kids, readjusting your life, wallowing in all this uncertainty into a positive? I'm going to give you just a couple different thoughts on how to do that after I identify the 5 things that I believe cause the biggest amounts of adversity in people's lives, right? So we have number 1, our relationships. We have number 2, our uncertainty. And we have number 3, our physical condition. And so let's go to number 4. Well, let's face it. Look, there's a lot of people that are not being paid. There's a lot of people that have debts. You want to talk about adversity? Financial adversity is something that will break you. It will break your spirit. But we need to understand, as the great Zig Ziglar said, that failure is not a person, right? Failure is just an event. And what we have right now is an event called a pandemic, something that we could not see. And understand that no matter what you're going through, what adversity you're going through, especially financial, and especially how hard this is on you, and I hear that, what do you do when you're not making any money? Well, I can tell you this. We've had negative financial reversals before. We've had very, very bad economic times in the history of our country. And I know that there are people that said, you know what, we can sit and wallow and wait on the money, or we can what? Become resourceful. We can get creative. We can start a new business. We can start to look around and see what the opportunities are to improve our financial capability. I know that's hard when you're broke, but here's the thing. There's no other time in your life that you will look around for more financial opportunity than when you're broke and there is no opportunity in your life. So many people get stuck and they get on the gerbil wheel and the treadmill and they go, well, okay, I got a secure job. I'm making $50,000, $60,000 a year and I'm just going to stay here and be comfortable. I want that certainty in my life. I don't need any more. I like coming in at 8. I like leaving at 4. I love my life. And then boom, the pandemic hits. And now your job's in jeopardy. Your income is in jeopardy. And you know what? It's going to force you to look around at other ways to make money. And what you might find is this pandemic may give you the financial freedom. It may give you the awareness, the creativity, and the resources that it takes to move you forward, to help you become who you're destined to become, to help you live the fruitful life that you were born to live, and to help move you out of the certainty and stagnant ways of your life. And so that gets us into the fifth biggest problem, right? The fifth biggest area of adversity. And I think the fifth biggest area of adversity is truly what? It's our attitude, right? It's our level of thought. It's the mind game. It's the mind game. It's how do we interact with ourself? What is our self-talk? What is our self-belief? Do we listen to media? Like, I don't know. Here's what I want to do. I've mentioned this before. I want to get like the MSNBC and CNN guys to debate the Fox News guys, just get 4 or 5 of them and let them go after it. Because I don't think these people all are talking their original stuff. I think they're news readers. I think they're all very, very smart, very brilliant. But I'd love to see them think on their feet and do a university of attitude debate. And so if you like that idea, I mean, can you imagine 4 of the biggest cable news stars debating at the University of Attitude, especially in the time of these politics? But this thing called, mental fatigue, right? This is adverse. People are fatigued. They are tired. The constant and unabashed talk, the feelings of hatred, the feelings of helplessness, the feelings that I can't do it alone, the feeling that, God, my mind, I can feel it in my mind. I feel tired. I'm fatigued. That is adversity. Some call it depression. But the fact is that there are people out there in the world that don't know what to do. They want to cuddle up in a ball. They don't want to think about it. They don't want to hear anymore, and they just want to shut down. That is called adversity. That's called mental adversity. And I'm just going to give some thoughts about adversity on how we can overcome those 5. And I think the first thing that we really need to do is understand that thoughts are things. This is, I'm going to give you, I don't know, maybe 6 or 7 ways to try to work through whatever one of these 5 that is going on in your life. I want you to take what is happening to you financially, physically, mentally, relationships, and say, okay, I'm going to take one where I'm feeling this adversity, and I want you to do this. I want you to ask, what is my mindset? What am I thinking about this adversity? We know that thoughts are things, but we also know that sometimes we have thoughts that aren't true. And I want you to ask, is what I'm believing about the adversity in my life, is it true? Because so many times we get caught up in a lie. So many times we get caught up trying to solve things that are not true. And I just want you to check your mindset. And the best way to check that is it true? Right? So if you're having financial difficulty and you're going, I'm going broke, I can't afford anything. Some people have resources, some people have money, some people have equity in their home. Some, there are monetary there's monetary value in your life that you may or may not even be recognizing. Things may not necessarily be as dire as you think they are. Sometimes you can look at your debts, restructure your debts, talk to your creditors and say, okay, we need a way out and I need to create some certainty in my financial picture. I think you guys get this. I don't want to go through all 5 examples, but to really look at the adversity you're facing and force yourself to ask yourself 5 questions about, is it true as you see the adversity, you see it. The second thing I think you need to do when it comes to adversity and overcoming and loving it and embracing it, because again, asking the questions like, coming up and being resourceful and looking at your adversity and your problems, do we understand that it's creating the person that you're meant to be? It's helping you grow. I know that it's tough to look at it that way, but trust me, you have all overcome adversity at some point. And sometimes didn't you amaze yourself and you said, oh my God, I can't believe I came through that. And then you look at yourself and you go, oh my gosh, I'm actually better than I thought I was. And you find your true self. What I'm trying to tell you is it's time to embrace the adversity and not let it fold you. It's time to drive the adversity and not let it drive you. And understand the greatness and the goodness that can come out of this. So one thing you can do is check your mindset. Ask if it's true. Number 2, stop making excuses. Right? We all want to make excuses, especially those with the challenge of physical fitness. And my friend Matt De La Cruz, and Matt's podcast was fantastic when he came on. If you haven't listened to Matt's podcast, I would love you to. And he always makes the joke. People go, I just can't find time to work out. He goes, it's not that you can't find the time, you can't find the damn gym. And that is one of my favorites that he does. I just get the biggest kick out of it when he says that. And so many of us, when we think about it, our physical well-being, our performance, our clarity of thought, our ability to move, our ability to react is all caught up in attitude booster number 9, eat right and exercise. So when you say you don't have time, when you make an excuse, all excuses really are, they're just lies that we tell ourselves when we're too afraid of our future. So many of you know what your future is, right? So many of you know deep down in your heart and your guts, this is my future. But you don't care because you shut down because you want to be certain. So what do? You lie to yourself and you make excuses. And so I think a good question to ask yourself about the adversity is, what am I afraid of? What am I really afraid of? See, whatever you tell your mind will become a self-fulfilling prophecy when it's all said and done. If you don't achieve your dreams, it will be because you made a decision to be detained by those excuses. Here's what I'd love you to try to do. Have a no excuse Wednesday tomorrow. Just tomorrow, say, I'm not going to make an excuse. I'd love you to create what I call the greatest day ever and say, I'm going to make this the greatest day ever. And you can do this today. And I love doing this exercise. If tomorrow could be the greatest day ever, what would I be? What would I do? And what would I have? And what would I go and own? And then do it. And don't make excuses. Because when you really go after what is authentically you, then what I'm telling you is this, that you're going to end up not doing it because you're making excuses. Number 3 is this thing that I believe in, and I'm a pretty faithful person, and it's this thing called have the faith, right? You got to have faith. It takes more energy to live life full of fear than to live life full of faith. But so many of us, when we think about who we want to become, what we want to do, how do we bridge the gap, you know what? We focus on the fear. We focus on what we can't do instead of focusing on the faith and what we can do. We don't focus on, or we do focus on what we don't have instead of focusing on what we do have. We focus on what we aren't instead of focusing on what we are. And that's where this thing of faith comes in, right? It's that energy that is inside of you that says, I believe in something bigger than me. I believe in a power bigger than me. And I believe that I have a purpose for my life and a life that is there to affect others. And that's what we're trying to do very simply with the Get Attitude podcast, is to build some faith and build some hope. I do just want to thank all of you that continue to share out our message, that continue to refer me, great guests. I mean, I am so excited about the guests that we're having and that we're creating for our second season. And if you're a gapper and you like this, I'd love you to send me some people that you think could teach us about any one of the 10 attitude boosters as we move into season 2. But to fear is to convince yourself to live with the walls that you've built around yourself, right? To have faith is to convince yourself to embrace change. So if you want to get through adversity, if you want to love adversity, if you want to embrace change and adversity, you know what? It's time. It's time to convince yourself and embrace change. Because when you embrace adversity, you got to embrace change. And the question is simply this: how much have you embraced change? How much do you change? How much are you willing to change? Or are you just going to say, that's me? Hey, this is just me. That's the way I am. One of the most self-limiting thoughts and worst things in relationships of people, when we talk about your relationships, is to say, that's just me. See, there's more to you than that's just you. That's just you as a cop-out. One of my good, and I think a potential guest, David Elson, he's the defensive coordinator at Marian University, said adversity is a university, and it's something that we should all attend daily. And I love that. I think he actually got that from another guy, so we'll bring that through. But when we talk about change, are you a change embracer or are you a change eraser? Because you do or you do not want to do it. But the bottom line is, when we talk about loving adversity, what I want you to be thinking about is living in faith and stop living in fear. And the one thing that we really need to do is get in touch with what am I afraid of? So the fourth thing that I think we can do when we talk about loving adversity is we just don't take no for an answer. See, so many people will just accept no. When people say you can't do that, you can't buy that, you can't learn that, you can't be that way, you can't be as good as your brother or your sister, you can't sell as much as the number one sales guy, or you can't deliver as much value as the number one speaker in the world, whatever it might be. But you have to say, no. I am not going to take no for an answer. And for anybody that has ever worked with me or for me, they certainly know this. Do not come back to me with a no answer. If I ask for something or if I want something, taking no for an answer just doesn't exist. Now, how you get other people to be influential enough where you don't take no for an answer takes a lot of creativity. That probably could take a private course. I probably need to literally take a course on that. What's up, Renee? And so the bottom line is this. There are people whose businesses have failed, right, on many different occasions. They've either failed or they've almost failed several times. And while some would lie down and let their dreams float away, there's a lot of people that say, you know what, I believe that I can achieve whatever the hell I want to achieve, and I'm not going to take no from an answer, not just from the people that are in my life, that influence my life, but the person that you need to not take no for an answer from is yourself. How many times do you tell yourself, you know what, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to go for that. I'm just going to take no for an answer. See, if people just give up on their dreams because of their disappointments, they would never have really lived life. They would have never have really lived the dream. And so what type of life are you living? See, adversity will make you humble. Adversity will sit there and say, you need to maybe just stop. You maybe need to just say no. But the bottom line is, look, at trials occur in life, but endurance requires you to never stop trying. See, if you want to be considered a person of perseverance, you must have adversity in your life. See, perseverance is actually the mother of adversity. So think about that. Are you a person of perseverance? Are you somebody that can identify 3 adverse situations in your life, set a 30-day goal, and conquer all 3 in the next 30 days? What does your life look like if you stop taking no for an answer, especially from yourself? What are your 3 biggest challenges? You got a pen and paper, write that down and say, I got a 30-day plan and I'm going to conquer the adversity that I'm facing. It could be that I got to make a certain amount of money in 30 days. Could be that I got to drop a certain number of pounds in 30 days. Could be that I need to walk a certain amount of miles in 30 days. It could be that I need to make a certain number of sales calls in 30 days. It could be that I need to repair 3 relationships in 30 days. It could be that I need to meet personally with 30 people who can change my life, just 1 a day in 30 days. Just imagine if you did all of that in all areas of your life, what that could be. That's taking adversity and turning it into what? Your greatest teacher. It's turning it into your greatest motivator. And you know what? You got to love the adversity that's going on in your life. That's what is happening. So as we talk about this thing called adversity or trials in your life, we know that it's going to require endurance. I hope that you consider yourself a person of endurance, and I hope that you can see yourself on the other side of the adversity that you are facing. You know, adversities are one of the greatest teaching tools in life. What have they taught you? I would love you to identify the adversity that you faced in your life and say, what did I learn from that? And chronicle that. You know, I know that you got to be glad that you've bounced back from that. And it's time that you celebrate what you've done and the adversity you've overcome. And then celebrate and imagine what it's going to feel like when you tackle the adversity, right, that you have. You know, I learned that in the moment that you respond to the difficulty in your life and the adversity in your life, it will determine whether or not you will realize your dreams or you won't. And I know this about you. You are not on the Get Attitude podcast because you want your dreams to be stuffed inside of you and you want your dreams to never be realized. You are listening to the Get Attitude podcast because you believe there is more. There's more to see, there's more to do, there's more to be, and there's more to have. And that's what I'm hoping my guests and I bring to you as we tackle this thing called adversity. And we're going to have some great stories from people on the adversity front. All right, so never become defined by what is insurmountable. Just dare to do the impossible. That is my encouragement to you. And then the last thing I just want to talk to you about is the energy, right? Let each success energize you. I touched on this one before, but the bottom line is this. I want your successes, I want your when you conquer your adversity, to energize you. Because ultimately it's the energy, the nervous system, and it's that chemistry in your body that when you go after things and when you go after challenges is when you take them on. That's when you're the most energized. When you sit back and let life beat you up, right? You are not energized. I'm trying to think of a quote. I think they said, the realities of life, such as they are, have beaten the dreams out of me. And that's what we can't have. If you want to have energy in your life, if you want to have vibration, if you want to have movement, I'm telling you right now, you got to go after your adversities. You got to love them. You got to love your problems and not let them destroy you. Because here's what happens with people when they're not moving. They're stagnant. They're overweight. They're going broke. They're going through divorce. They're tearing apart their relationships. Those are people that have succumbed to the adversities of life. Those are the people that have not been through the 5 steps I've just taken. They haven't checked their mindset. They sit there and they make excuses. They have no faith. They're run by fear. And if somebody tells them no, they accept it. And you know what I'm saying? I hope that's not you. I hope I've identified some different adversities in your life. I've hoped that these 5 steps that I've given you very simply will help you conquer and overcome it. But most of all, what I want you to do, identify those adversities and love them. See the opportunity that is inside each and every adversity that you're going to take on over the next 30 days. Tune into the Get Attitude podcast to listen to our incredible guests. We will encourage you. We will coach you. And hopefully in 30 days, we will lighten the burden of your adversities. You must realize that every disappointment is being engineered for your destiny. And you have a life that is bigger than what you are living now. And I hope that I can help you see it. You know, life can get us down, but you know what? We can pick ourselves right back up. And we must learn not to be limited by the experiences in our lives, especially the negative ones. And we are strong. You are stronger than you think you are. And that you must realize that you have greatness within you, as the great Les Brown says. We are all dreamers, and we all have dreams inside of us. Don't die with the dreams inside of you, still inside of you. As the great Les Brown says, live full, die empty. Make sure you die empty, and you're not holding on to all the dreams and all the greatness that you have. Anything is possible if you are willing to do what? Persevere. The mother, right? Perseverance, the mother of perseverance is adversity. Are you a person of perseverance? Overcoming adversity is the secret of champions. When you look at, and we're not seeing many of them today because we got no sports, but when you look at the great champions in life, the great champions of sport, the great champions of anything, they are people that overcome adversity. Greatness just doesn't fall out of a tree and hit you in the head. It's something that you must overcome and you must work through. And through having the right mindset, not making excuses, not taking no for an answer, having faith, and being energized by the challenge of loving adversity, you can overcome anything in your life, especially anything in life that life has to throw at you. And I'm telling you right now, life is throwing a hell of a lot of fastballs, more than one at a time, with us right now. So I'm here for you. The Get Attitude podcast is here for you. We hope that we can help you bridge the gap from who you are to who you want to become, and from where you are to where you want to be in this next month, featuring Attitude Booster number 8, Love Adversity. Hit me up on Facebook. Hit me with a text. Send me an email. I would love to talk to you about your adversities. This is Glenn Bill for the Get Attitude podcast.